Kawhi, no problem for the Toronto Raptors. Toronto beat the Warriors by 20 points last night, despite Kawhi being sidelined by a bruised hip. Kyle Lowry stepped up, 23 points, 12 assists. Steph Curry stepped down, just 10 points on 3 of 12 shooting. Nick, Raptors are 7-1 without Kawhi in the lineup this season. How impressive is that, along with the win over the Warriors last night?
You mentioned Steph. This was Steph's first legit bad game of the year. He's allowed to have one of those every 20 or so. He had been so good. But the big story last night is the Raptors. This game shocked me. For the Raptors, without their best player, to go into Oracle and win that game convincingly when they're on a back-to-back after beating the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard. The Warriors are rested. I couldn't have seen this coming from 100 miles away, but it speaks to the progression of their players and the talent development. Kyle Lowry busted out of his shooting slump 2 days ago, continued that yesterday, and you are seeing the depth of the team. We talk about Boston having so much depth. I don't know that any team in the NBA, 1 through 10, has more quality guys. They can put out 2 different starting fives that are legitimate NBA starting fives. You saw that last year. They just didn't have the top level talent that they have this year, and they couldn't get over the mental block of LeBron. But this Raptors team is very legit, see, and what they did last night was as impressive a win as anybody's had in the NBA all year.
I tried to look for what did we miss, and what we didn't know. There were some unknowns as far as Kawhi to the general public. How healthy would he be? How would he get acclimated to this new team? Kawhi and his teammates are getting along great. I think it's very, very impressive for them to be as effective as they have been. This 2-game road trip with the Clippers and the Warriors back-to-back to beat those 2 teams by the number of points they beat them without Kawhi, I believe, is impressive. Their younger players, how they would continue to develop, because we don't know. We don't know with coaching staffs. That's the big question with the Lakers. The Raptors players, they're developing. Those younger players, oh, man, they're developing.
Right.
Pascal and everything, you could see Durant and the Warriors struggle with his limp. Serge Ibaka, this is the best I've seen him offensively, and that's a credit to Nick Nurse. What's his specialty? His specialty in the NBA is designing offenses and running offenses. So if you look at the difference between him and Dwayne Casey, the last coach, Casey, defensive specialist, Nurse, offensive specialist. So you can see with Kawhi, without Kawhi, what they try to do offensively and spreading the ball, passing the ball is far more effective. So even though they've been the best record in the East, this team I thought was better because how they function offensively, I thought that would be easier to carry over once we got into late in the season and into the playoffs.
Real quick, I just want to follow up on 2 names you said before you jump in, Janet. Serge Ibaka, I thought he was done. Serge Ibaka in the playoffs last year was borderline unplayable. His contract was looked at like an albatross, and all of a sudden he is playing the best basketball he's played since he was in Oklahoma City. And Pascal Siakam, his jump from a guy who they drafted to be a defender to being a legitimate offensive threat seemingly overnight between year 2 and 3 has been an absolute revelation. And he
developed a lot like Kawhi Leonard. When they got Kawhi from San Diego, not tremendous expectations. Drafted him as a what?
Drafted him as defensive specialist from 15th pick.
And then you start to see Kawhi start dribbling the ball. Kawhi got a little jump shot, and that's what you're seeing, the same type of development with, there in Toronto with their young star.
And I was just going to, and the guy that came over with Kawhi, Danny Green, what he adds for them spacing-wise, having a 40+% knockdown shooter out there and what it opens up for the rest of their offense has been excellent for them as well.
I've been sitting here for weeks listening to you guys talk about how good Toronto is, how good their bench is, and clearly how good Kawhi Leonard is. Have we put an unfair cap on this Toronto team? You know, out of the East, maybe take out of the East off. Is it possible that they could go head-to-head with the Warriors?
I don't think anyone can beat the Warriors, and I do think it should be noted the Warriors are about to get an all-NBA level center added to this basketball team. And Steph Curry's not going to have 3 of 12 nights. Like Draymond Green's not always going to get in early foul trouble. But there is no shame in being the second best team in the NBA in this year with this stacked Warriors team. And I think the Raptors are at this moment clearly the second best team in the NBA.
I believe they're the second best team. I believe it will be a better series than we've seen in the other series because of their overall depth and Kawhi's ability to be able to go head-to-head with Durant. And then now Kawhi don't have to take him the whole game. All right, because you got other young stars who have some length that they can put on him. I think Nick Nurse and the way they run their offense, Toronto is a serious contender. But right now, Golden State's only playing with 3 all-stars. All right, we talked about getting Cousins back, and man, Draymond is not an all-star. He is not playing like an all-star. Only scored 2 points last night. His body language and how he's playing the game is not nearly where. So if he doesn't come out of what he's doing, they can get Draymond back. They would struggle with Toronto if Draymond continues to play at that level.
They were daring him to shoot. He finally took him up on it. He damn near missed the whole basket on one of them. Like Draymond Green was never supposed to be a great shooter, but the year they won 73 games, you had to respect his shot. He now is worse than he was when he came into the league from the 3-ball, and that constricts them just a little bit.